he has to repel the boarding party of neocons and establishment Republicans who are now showing up and saying, I was with you the whole time, and I'd like to be Secretary of X. The names that I hear bouncing around are disconcerting, to say the least. Jamie Dimon, the banker for Treasury Secretary, he's an active Democrat. That's the worst idea I've ever heard. So I think that we have to be vigilant that the Trump presidency is not co-opted, and support the president as he selects men and women who support the Trump agenda.
Do you think that that Jamie Dimon thing is real? And I mean, you're close to Trump, and the people around him, you know, the Stephen Bannons of the world, and the Kellyanne Conways, and all those other, you know, inner circle people. Who would be advising people like who would be advising him to pick people like Jamie Dimon and others that concern you?
Well, first of all, there's a distinction between the transition and the government and the campaign. So how much influence those involved in the campaign have on the personnel selection process is an open question. Secondarily, though, I do think that all of the names that you hear floated in the national media are largely self-promotion. People are leaking their own names and saying that they're under consideration when they may not really be. So a lot of what you read is premature. Yesterday's Washington Post reported that Corey Lewandowski was under consideration for White House Chief of Staff. I happen to know for an absolute fact that that's false. That was fed to the Washington Post, and they naively, or maybe not naively, ran with it. But he's not under consideration for that post. Reince Priebus, not under consideration to be White House Chief of Staff. So I think these things have to shake out. I just think it is very important, and I'd set a criteria. If I were President Trump, I would appoint no one to my foreign policy apparatus who had been a drumbeater for the Iraq War. Reaganites, non-interventionists can be found, people who served Ronald Reagan, admirably in the State and Defense Departments, who are not neocons. Those are the kind of people we need to find.
All right, you say, interestingly, that Priebus, I hadn't even heard the Lewandowski. I guess I didn't turn to the Washington Post today quick enough. But give me a name that you think might be someone that you'd like to see as Chief of Staff, or that and/or might have a legitimate, chance.
Well, first of all, I think Stephen Bannon played a crucial role here in Trump's victory in his understanding of the new media, which is particularly important when your campaign is underfunded. The Trump campaign was doing some very innovative and I think effective online campaign activities and advertising in those closing days. I also think Bannon really helped Donald crystallize his anti-elitist, anti-establishment message, which he stuck to very, religiously in the final 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So Steve Bannon is someone that I would like to see considered. Now, I don't know if Steve wants the job. I don't know if he could be convinced to take the job, but he does remember who the good guys are and the bad guys are. He does know who was for us and who was not for us. He'd be an excellent appointment if he would take the job.